All right, today we're jumping into this amazing story from the ancient texts. It's all about the Buddha's personal journey to awakening, but what's incredible is how it's told, through this intense, high-stakes public debate. So let's start with the big question that really frames this whole story. Where do you find true strength? Is it about punishing your body, just gritting your teeth and mastering physical pain? Or is it the complete opposite? Do you abandon the body altogether and just focus on the mind? This is the exact dilemma the Buddha had to unravel. Okay, so the scene is set, and in walks our antagonist, a guy named Saccaka. Now, Saccaka isn't just anybody. He's a famous, very sharp-tongued debater. And let's be clear, he's not here for a friendly discussion. His whole mission is to publicly tear down everything the Buddha stands for. The man himself, his teachings, and his entire community, the Sangha. All right, so here we go. Saccaka steps right up to the Buddha and launches his intellectual attack. He really thinks he's the perfect, inescapable. So here's Saccaka's argument, right? He basically says there are two kinds of development, and both are dead ends. First, you've got people who only develop their body, but then their minds go haywire and they fall apart. Then you have the opposite, people who only develop their minds, but then their bodies get sick and they get crushed by physical pain. Then he points the finger right at the Buddhist disciples and says, "That's you guys, all mind, no body. Your whole system is fundamentally flawed." But the Buddha, he doesn't take the bait. He just completely reframes the whole issue. He basically says, Saccaka, you're asking the wrong question entirely. The real difference isn't between body and mind. No, it's between being developed and undeveloped. And an undeveloped person? Well, the Buddha explains, it's anyone whose mind is constantly getting occupied, or maybe hijacked is a better word. You feel something present and boom, your mind is hijacked by craving. You feel something painful and bam, it's hijacked by misery. You're basically a slave to your sensations. So how does the Buddha prove his point? He doesn't get into some abstract philosophical argument. He gets personal. He tells Saccaka, look, I've walked both of those extreme paths you're talking about. Let me tell you how that went. And spoiler alert, he found they were both total dead ends. So he starts with the first path, trying to master the mind alone. He talks about how after he left his palace, he went searching for the best of the best, the most famous meditation gurus of the time, guys named Alara Kalama and Uddaka son of Rama. He was all in, totally determined to master whatever they could teach him. And what's just wild is how good he was at it, like supernaturally gifted. He didn't just learn what they taught, he mastered it and fast. He reached these incredibly advanced states, like the dimension of nothingness, and then something even higher, the dimension of neither perception nor non-perception. I mean, this was the absolute peak of what was considered possible back then. His teachers were so blown away, they basically said, hey, you're as good as us, co-lead our communities with us. But, and this is the absolute key, even at the very pinnacle of this mental power, he realized something wasn't right. Something huge was missing. Sure, these states felt sublime, but they were temporary. They weren't a permanent solution. They didn't lead to real, unshakable freedom. And so with that realization, he just left. He knew this path wasn't the answer.
So, path number 1, mastering the mind, was a bust. What does he do? He swings completely to the other side of the pendulum. He dives headfirst into this brutal path of self-mortification, basically punishing his body. The thinking was, okay, if I can just conquer all physical pain, maybe that's where the answer is.
And the ancient texts are, well, they're not shy about the details. They paint this incredibly graphic picture of what he did to himself. He fasted so hard his body was just a wreck. You could see his vertebrae sticking out like beads on a necklace. His ribs looked like the rafters of an old broken-down barn. His belly skin was literally stuck to his spine. I mean, he pushed his body to the absolute edge of what's humanly possible and then kept going. And what was the result of all that pain? Nothing. Zero. After all that grueling self-torture, he had to face the facts. I haven't gained anything from this. He'd mastered the mind, that didn't work. He'd conquered the body, and that didn't work either. He'd tried both extremes, and both were failures. There just had to be another path. And this is the turning point of the whole story. He's at his lowest point, completely exhausted, totally disillusioned, and then it happens. A single, simple memory from when he was a boy pops into his head, and it changes absolutely everything.
He suddenly recalls this moment from his childhood. His father was off doing his work, and he was just a kid, sitting in the cool shade of a plum tree. And right there, with no effort, no struggle, no technique, he just naturally fell into this state of pure, pleasant, blissful awareness.
And that memory sparks this total game-changing insight. He asks himself a really powerful question. Why am I so afraid of that kind of pleasure? See, for years, he thought all pleasure was a trap, something to be feared and renounced. But the pleasure he felt as a kid, that wasn't selfish or harmful. It was just wholesome. And in that instant, it hit him. He'd been running away from the very thing that could save him. And this insight is the birth of what we now call the middle way. And it's so important to get this right. It's not some weak compromise in the middle. It's a totally new, radical path. It's the understanding that you don't have to choose between indulgence and austerity. Instead, you use a healthy, nourished body as the stable platform for the mind to do its really deep work. Okay, so now he's got it. Armed with this revolutionary new understanding, he starts his final push towards awakening. But this time, he's coming from a place of balance, not from the crazy extremes. And look how logical the steps are now. First thing, he ate some real food, got his strength back. With that physical stability, he was then able to enter these profound states of meditation, the 4 absorptions. And from that place of deep calm and clarity, he gained what are called the 3 great knowledges: seeing his past lives, understanding the whole cycle of rebirth, and grasping the true nature of suffering. And all of that led to the final breakthrough, the total, complete liberation of his mind. And here it is, the punchline to his whole incredible story, and it connects right back to the beginning. He says that through this entire process, all the blissful meditation, all the joy of insight, all these pleasant feelings came up, but they never occupied his mind. Remember that word. He could feel things, even wonderful things, but he wasn't owned by them. He wasn't hijacked. He was finally, truly free. So, after laying out this entire epic personal journey, the Buddha turns back to Saccaka. The debate's about to end, and the final piece of evidence isn't going to be an argument. It's going to be the Buddha. And Saccaka is just floored. He's thinking back on every other guru and teacher he's ever debated. And every single time, when he pushed their buttons, they got defensive, they got angry. You could see the annoyance, hate, and bitterness on their faces. But the Buddha? After Saccaka's relentless attacks, the man is just glowing. His skin is bright, his face is clear. He is the living proof of his teaching.
And so Saccaka, the hotshot debater who came to destroy the Buddha's reputation, he's just completely won over. He's speechless. All he can say is, "It's incredible. It's amazing." The argument is over because Saccaka saw the truth, not in clever words, but in the calm, unshakable presence of an awakened being.
So let's bring it all home. The core lesson here is so powerful. The Buddha's entire journey proves that real development, real strength, isn't a choice between body and mind. It's about cultivating a way of being where you are the master of your experiences, not the other way around. It's about that freedom from being mentally hijacked by the ups and downs of life.
And that really leaves us with a powerful question for our own lives, doesn't it? We all have things we're working towards, struggles we face, and so often we get stuck in those same 2 extremes, either striving so hard we burn out or just giving up completely. This story invites us to ask, where is that middle way for us? Where is that path of skillful balance between striving and surrender? Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.